Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Welcome, everybody, to the Nourish Your Soul show for the month of August. I am so excited that you're here, being present with us to share in this divine appointment with Shiva Ray, who is our guest. And for those of us lucky enough to be spending time with her next month, September 15th through 17th at Bhakti Fest, we are going to have such a sacred time that weekend, and we'll be talking a lot about that. And for those of you who know Shiva Ray, or it's interesting, I polled my yoga group today in class and said, how many of you knew Shiva Ray? And everyone's hands went up. So, and the ones who didn't, I said, well, then you're going to have to tune in. So, it's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the Nourish Your Soul show. So glad to meet you in person, sort of, right? This way, this is the most in person people do these days. Yeah, welcome.
Well, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. I know you have such a busy schedule. You're here, there, and everywhere, and I think it's just a beautiful thing that people from all over get to touch into a little bit of your wonderful wisdom. And for those of you, I don't know what's the best way. I looked at your Wikipedia, and I love this. She's a teacher of Vinyasa Flow Yoga and Yoga Trance Dance. And something tells me you have many other tools in your beautiful cosmic toolbox. But I love that it says you're one of the best known yoga teachers in America and around the world. And kudos to that, because so many people.
I have to say that I don't know who put that Wikipedia up.
I always wonder who puts those Wikipedias up, and I'm like, wow, they always make them so amazing.
I feel a little bit, once it starts, I value humility.
Yeah.
And most of my teachers carry themselves with that heart. So I'm not particularly fond of that sentence, to tell you the truth.
So we'll detract that.
It's about who we are, how we walk in the world.
Yeah.
And it really, I appreciate you saying that, because it's true. I have been offering yoga for the last 3 decades, and I started young on the path, but parallel to that, I was really a student in world arts and cultures, and very much on this journey of the power of movement and culture, and thought I was going into a cultural anthropology program at UCLA. I completed my master's there. So most of my teachers, have lived in Africa for over 3 years in both East and West Africa. I went to the School of Music and Dance in Ghana and the Jamaica School of Dance, and then spent time at Delhi University, and now I go to India twice a year. So I'm really grateful that most of my teachers on the path have really been connected to a root lineage. And we know whenever we're in indigenous communities, humility is everything. So
I always say less is best. Less is best. And I love the expression, the best ways to do things when people aren't looking, and just to model the energy without having to say it. But there's a part of acknowledgement really in that sentence that felt a little awkward, is to realize that you have modeled exactly what you just shared for some time, that many people have had the gift of getting to know and experience you. So that does make you expansive in the world. So how about that? We'll just create the balance around.
Thank you.
Yeah. When you said that you started early, how early is a question. People always want to know how people come into their journey. And I wonder always, is it a spiritual activation? How does one become interested in beginning the world that you now live in?
Yes. Well, before I start backwards to the kind of origins of that question, one of the reasons why I started early as a yoga teacher is there really weren't that many yoga teachers, which I think is really the incredible contrast to this time today. And so I started teaching because there was a need for teachers.
Yeah.
And I never thought that I would become a yoga teacher, but I began my practice, I could say formally, when I was 14, but it begins earlier in that my father gave me my name, Shiva, and we lived right on the beach in Hermosa Beach, and he was an art student, a sculptor, and a surfer. And my mother was also on her journey. So I didn't have, could say, another school but the ocean. And so that's where I feel like the transmission of why my father gave me my name, because he loved this image of Nataraja, that life is a dance, that life is this continual cycle. And being a surfer, that worldview was already part of his body. And so I think stepping on the sand as a baby and literally spending all of those days, and no matter what season, those of us in California, we love the winter when we can just feel the ecology. We see the whales. We have wild dolphins here. I love hearing where you live. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like really in that traditional way, my mother was my first teacher. I'm very dedicated to natural intelligence and everybody realizing that our primary teacher is breathing us now, moving us now. So I do feel my entryway, particularly into how I offer yoga and being part of Bhakti Fest, really does begin in that early impression and the bija of Shiva. And it's became kind of a koan for me. I know that's a Zen metaphor, but like this, that the question leads you on the search.
Yeah.
Right. And in this way, my teachers were my parents. They gave me this name, and they were more like young beatniks. Mm-hmm. My mother went to a yoga class, but I would say they were more into kind of the cultural revolution that was going on in the 70s. And so they which meant kind of giving your children the chance to find out who they are, what they want to believe, what is their path. So by the time we moved to Berkeley when I was 4 years old, yoga was in that epicenter of being part of a cultural revolution. Mm-hmm. So I didn't, like I said, expect that I would become a yoga teacher, but I knew as a teenager when I started to practice yoga just on my own from a book from the Himalayan Institute. And then I found the one yoga class that was happening at this point in Memphis, Tennessee, where we moved to be with my great grandmother. And so I was really a hardcore athlete. And yet I found the transformation through meditation and bhakti, and a deep seed was awakened in me. So I decided not to go to NYU, but to go to India to do volunteer work in village development when I was 17. And unfortunately, Indira Gandhi was assassinated just as I was about to go, and the whole country closed. And so my second choice was to go to Africa. And so I was in village development in Kenya, and that's when I started to really understand the power of dance and movement and culture. So I started to really have a very different global experience of really the power of collective movement as well. And so when I came back at 19 and Yoga Works in Santa Monica had just opened, and I was now found this amazing program called the Department of World Arts and Cultures. And I was able to really go on this path of understanding movement from a very global perspective, and to have teachers of traditional dance forms. I studied Bharatanatyam, and when I was in India, Odissi, so in Indian classical dance. But really, I had a minor in African studies, and that primacy of rhythm and movement and culture and consciousness is, a heart core, or a huge part of my journey. And so, when Yoga Works just started Ashtanga, there were really only two of us in the class, and gradually got to see the whole evolution in these last 3 decades of change, big changes. And,
go ahead. Okay, I was just gonna. It's funny. I am surprised I haven't crossed paths with you in person, or maybe I have. Well, I lived in the South Bay for some time, many years ago, probably. Rosecrans and Highlands. I was in the South Redondo, Avenue G.
Yeah.
But when I think about where you just said, I know we're going back a step here, but just to catch up, I mean, to live in that magical vibration of Hermosa, you just have to, I already immediately got it, boop, boop, boop. And then to go from there to Berkeley, following that journey, you're ingrained with all the mystical, wonderful experiences of those places that, people, I don't even know if they're the same these days, but there's just certain time periods where there's certain places in the world that you just really caught it in that space, and then to have those travels. So that all makes sense. And for those of you, this is just really for those of you who are even wondering what the word Shiva means, would you mind just explaining that, just so people can actually know the essence of the power of the name?
Well, I'll start it from a funny story, because when I was a little girl, I was always picking up these big art books, and so I was getting the impression of Shiva. But I would look in the encyclopedia, and it would always say Shiva, the Lord of Destruction, the Lord of the Dance. But it would always start Lord of Destruction. Yes. With Brahma being the creator and Vishnu being the preserver. It would never mention Shakti. Yeah. That Shiva is Shakti. The divine androgyny. In that way, the two are seen as one in the Shiva worldview. So we say Shiva, worldview, it would be Shiva, and Shiva in the mythology, of course, is the first teacher of yoga as well as the teacher of dance. So this image of Nataraj is actually an image of the totality. It's, you hear of these superconductor labs like in Bern, where they're smashing atoms together to find out what's in the center. Well, in one of these superconductor places in Bern, I think it's called the Bern Institute, or, you may have heard of it in quantum physics. At the very entryway is Shiva Nataraja. So this worldview that is very, very, very old, when we go into, what is the origins of Shiva? In the Vedas, Shiva might have been called Rudra. but I spent a lot of time in Greece, in Delphi, and find that there was this connection around the world with, you could say, a dancing deity, a deity of transformation, which we, of course, mostly see as this cosmic dance beyond form and formless. The iconography of Shiva has the damaru, the two-sided drum. So Shiva becomes connected in Tantra with this worldview of embracing life in its totality. So we find, the Shiva Linga as the symbol of Shiva. When you go to a temple, maybe you will find Nataraja, but for sure you will see many, many, many Shiva Lingas, which is actually our own body. And the meeting of almost like a maypole of a verticality and, of course, this embracing of the earth. So the Shiva Linga is really Shiva and Shakti, and the whole cycle is much creative power and sustaining power, and actually that becomes part of the whole symbol of the dance. The circle of fire is the fire of transformation, and the hand that says "Have no fear," is that aspect of Shiva Bhakti, where, in the history of yoga in India, the Shaiva movements were always for all beings beyond caste, were very much supporting women teachers, worshiping the goddess is another aspect of Shaiva Tantra. And so it was quite a journey to, continue to go to India and actually feel that quest in my heart. And, when I started to teach, it was a time when the aspect of Krishnamacharya's lineage, particularly, Iyengar, Patabi Joyce, Jessica Char, it was a time where there was a great emphasis on asana. Yes. A great emphasis on asana, and particularly the perfection of asana, or the alignment of asana, maybe even called more static asana. And yet I was immersed in movement forms, and in going back to India in this kind of quest for my heart, I became a student of a form that isn't known so well in the West, but it's considered to be literally one of the oldest martial art forms in the world, if not the oldest, and that's called Kalaripayattu. If you can imagine that you're going to your urban yoga center, but when you step into the space, you have to be initiated to go into the actual practice temple. And we touch our heart and we touch the earth, and we first have to touch all of the altars around the space so that we're really humble to begin this practice, and that we know that our bodies are an extension of our Earth Mother. So the whole orientation while you're in your practice is you're receiving, of course, the flow of the practice from your teachers. It's a space that, like I was describing, of this tantric bhakti that is open to all and always has been, taught to boys and girls, to people of all faiths. There are not that many women practitioners, but the power of it is that it's flowing, and then it comes into, I prefer to call asanas body mudras.
I like that.
Rather than a posture. So that simultaneous study of Kalaripayat, of going to India and being on pilgrimage, and the power of kirtan, the power of bhakti, early on transformed my experience of embodying flow. And so even though at the time when I first finished my yoga teacher training with Eric Schiffman and Lisa Walford. So this Iyengar teacher and a synthesis teacher, which is how I identify myself. And that at that time, culturally, there was a need for a space for people who couldn't quite do the full Ashtanga practice, had other interests. And that's really how Vinyasa flow emerged. And I feel like it was responding to kind of the cellular need from so much disembodiment and kind of reducing the body to a frontal plane, live through the head. It's still part of the world we're in. This computer life.
Yes.
And I also became a student of Ayurveda and so starting to go, and a mother. And so living yoga, offering vinyasa as movement meditation for life regeneration, and really returning to what I felt was very much lost in translation is namaskar. We hear of Surya Namaskar, but it usually gets translated as sun salutations.
Yes.
But the word salutation doesn't do anything to our heart. And namaskar is very profound in a way. It's the essence of bhakti yoga. And as we see, returning to this reverence of Shiva Shakti, going to Chidambaram, where you can go to the heart of the temple, and there is Nataraja as well as Shakti Natarajika. And so I started to really offer yoga from this more integrated space, from the space I was being informed from my teachers, and to feel a flowering of namaskar, not just as sun salutations, but where was the moon? So really teaching Surya Namaskar and Chandra Namaskar. And so what I now offer in the world is prana vinyasa over the last 20 years, using the name prana because it's really that connection to our life force and breathing with bhakti that we start to feel this very intimate journey in our embodiment, and to teach in a circle or a mandala rather than looking at the teacher on the stage, but really finding the prana within.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you so much for all that beautiful wisdom. We're going to take a quick break. And it's interesting that Shiva mentioned Greece, because you'll be hearing a commercial about a Greece retreat we're doing. Aphrodite awakened, really coming back to the love that we are within. All right, we're going to take a break and we'll be back in a moment.
The islands of Greece beckon you to nourish your soul, August 4th through 11th, 2024. Join Center for Intuitive Food Therapy and Nourish Your Soul host, Savante, for an 8-day, 7-night sojourn into your soul. Aphrodite Awakened welcomes you to return to the love you are. Savante is joined by renowned UK mystic and energy healer, Angela Aurora Medway-Smith, with meditations and pathways of enlightenment. Learn more about this retreat by visiting siftofficial.com. That's CIFTofficial.com.
You know, when my grandson takes a long car trip, he listens to audiobooks. A long drive seems faster, and sometimes he doesn't want to get out of the car because the book isn't finished. With over 100,000 books, Audible.com is one of the best places to get audiobooks. You can listen to a bestseller anytime, anywhere. Audible.com, your destination for the widest selection of audiobooks. Join millions of listeners. Just go to the Audible.com on HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click.
What if your food can talk? What would it say? Receive Mother Nature's healing wisdom for emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual wellness at centerforintuitivefoodtherapy.com. Feed your chakras, eat in unison with nature's 5 elements, and now receive a complimentary energy activation. To begin your journey, visit centerforintuitivefoodtherapy.com/activation. You'll never look at food the same way again.
Reach your health and fitness goals. Whether you want to lose weight, learn to dance, build muscle, or just live healthy, Beachbody gives you unlimited access to the nation's most popular fitness and weight loss solutions. Visit our advertiser page and click on Beachbody now.
Dr. Susan G. Chamberlain of Blue Rose Mystics is a master of the mystical world. Her divine feminine soul path destiny readings bring enlightened awareness of your highest potential for ultimate healing. Available worldwide via Zoom. Choose today to book a reading with Dr. Susan G. Chamberlain and begin your journey of self-love, healing, and health at susangchamberlain.com.
Hi, I'm Krishnadas, and you're listening to the Nourish Your Soul Show,
where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. And if you are inspired as I am to spend some time next month, as I mentioned earlier, she will be at the Bhakti Fest that has been around for some time now. I think I started going to them from the beginning, and it's great to come back. And Shiva Ray will be there. What a blessing. And let's just talk about that. Bhakti Fest will be the 15th through the 17th. And are you doing classes, workshops? Tell us all about how we can spend time with you there.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I was part of the first Bhakti Fest, and I'm so glad we're coming together again. It's really very special experience. Mm-hmm. Because it brings together so many different aspects of yoga.
Yeah.
And just to be centered in the heart. And this year we have so many amazing musicians coming from, many, many different genres. Michael Franti's going to be there, the Desert Dwellers. I've worked for a long time, in the last
I love him.
So many different, amazing artists who are also,
I used to live in New Mexico, and I had Amani on our show many years ago in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then here we are close to Joshua Tree National Monument.
Yes.
So I will be offering prana vinyasa, in this kind of progression. The first class is called Bom Shiva, and it's really about embodying rhythm and embodying, we spoke about the Dhammaru.
Yeah.
How rhythm unites us all. Rhythm is our body, our breath, and our heartbeat. And I could say that's really where a lot of my focus in bringing my background in movement therapy from world arts and cultures and all of the travels around the world is bringing people together in collective rhythm. So both a rhythmic vinyasa experience, but I have actually like 300 rhythm sticks.
Only?
So you can imagine getting everybody together in rhythm, and having live music artists with us. The Saturday class is J. Hanuman.
Oh.
As you know, Saturday is a big day, particularly a place I love to go close to my heart, Varanasi. And so we will be again in a prana vinyasa, but also integrating these different kriyas that are connected to Hanuman and Hanuman Bhakti and Kirtan. And then Sunday, after we have already been on quite a journey of the last few days, it's really about embodying the sacred flow and embodying particularly the rivers of consciousness, the nadis that is our subtle body, and really feeling the power of fluid movement within the vinyasa, within our Atma Puja that we're going to do, also how it changes when we, in our meditation, have an orientation to our sacred embodiment and how the flow unfolds from there. And I'm also offering a workshop for women with another aspect of our practice called Pranadanda Yoga. And that's a form of being centered in a movement tool. My partner, Dimitri Velisarius, created this flexible staff. And so it's a way of feeling that within your own being, your own Nanda, moving with the staff. My partner will be also teaching with Sridhar. They're doing a men's group and also integrating the staff.
Oh, I love that. I say that a lot. Putting your staff in the ground, like honoring, yeah.
Yogini Dandini is for the women. And then we're going on Monday, we're having a special post-immersion with dear friends, amazing kirtan artists, Govindas, and of course his partner, Jacqueline Michelle. She has to take the kids to school. They've just started school. So it's just going to be with Govindas, and my partner and I are going to take people in the beginning at sunrise, those that want to go into Joshua Tree National Monument for movement meditation with the staff there in the park. And then we come back into just a long, deep, nourishing bhakti sadhana with Govindas. And so we're really thrilled that Bhakti Fest is back. It's our big festival. It's really a family festival.
It feels,
people from all over the world, but for us locally, it's really important to come together as sacred family.
Oh, I'm just so looking forward to it. Being from California native, and it just really felt like you just said, it just felt like that is the homage. Like this is who we are. This is where we go. This is what we do. And then there was this break, and now I live on the other side of the coast. So I'm really looking forward to experiencing all of that. And I have someone coming with me. She's actually a yoga teacher, and she has never experienced live music in yoga classes. And I just thought, wow, I can't even explain, it's such a magical, I just thought maybe you would ought to touch on that, because to have that connection and that rhythm and flow as you share is quite a mystical journey in itself to see live.
Yeah. And I think some of it has to do with an aspect that I'm very dedicated to within yoga is sahaja, this element that when music is live, it can follow the people.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of spontaneous joy and tears, and we get to go on a live journey.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And of course we love all of these artists and their albums, but it's in the live that we are fanning the bhakti, fanning the fire of the heart and the nectar of the heart, all this elemental body. It's some of the best moments of our life are in those kind of spontaneous transformation that happens with live music and movement.
We're going to take another break. I know that was quick, but spend some time visiting Bhakti Fest. Get your tickets while you can to spend time with everything that Shiva just shared, and then some, like she said, music, workshops, food, most amazing food, really family and community. There's nothing better. All right, we'll be right back.
Ready to experience a complete restorative journey into the jungles of Costa Rica? Savante welcomes you on her Nourish Your Soul retreat at the world-renowned Himalaya Institute. February 6th through 11th, 2025, to enjoy a week of emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. Eat 5-star plant-based cuisine. Immerse yourself in a shamanic cacao ceremony and a waterfall plunge. Receive food, healing, oracle deck readings, and commune in the gorgeous rainforest amongst the beautiful foliage, monkeys, sloths, and tropical birds. This is a mind, body, and spirit experience of a lifetime. Learn more at siftofficial.com. That's CIFT official.com.
Shh! Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
Dr. Susan G. Chamberlain of Blue Rose Mystics is a master of the mystical world. Her divine feminine soul path destiny readings bring enlightened awareness of your highest potential for ultimate healing. Available worldwide via Zoom. Choose today to book a reading with Dr. Susan G. Chamberlain and begin your journey of self-love, healing, and health at susangchamberlain.com.
Constant Contact and your small business make a perfect fit for marketing. They give you what you need to succeed. Fast and easy email marketing at your fingertips. Visit the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and click on Constant Contact to start your marketing.
What if your food can talk? What would it say? Receive Mother Nature's healing wisdom for emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual wellness at centerforintuitivefoodtherapy.com. Feed your chakras, eat in unison with nature's 5 elements, and now receive a complimentary energy activation. To begin your journey, visit centerforintuitivefoodtherapy.com/activation. You'll never look at food the same way again.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
So, of course, the show is the Nourish Your Soul show, and inquirer minds always love to know from our beautiful guests who are here how you nourish yourself. And sometimes, well, I would say more on my show that everyone is exactly who they are on air, off air. Like, this is a very authentic show. There is not a persona. So it wouldn't surprise us that who you are is exactly who you are. But for those of you who would love to know how Shiva Ray nourishes herself emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, let's start with emotionally. How would you nourish yourself so people can know more about you?
Yeah, I wrote a book called Tending the Heart Fire, Living in Rhythm with the Pulse of Life. And it really is that, of course, in the yogic body, the soul is centered in this experience of Hridaya, our heart consciousness, the Atma Jyotir, the light of the soul. And I think we've been through such a journey these last few years that this kind of tantric rasa approach, where it's not when we feel ideal that we nourish the soul.
Yeah.
When our heart is heavy, when, particularly for me, I just don't understand what's happening in the world.
Same. Yeah.
I just don't understand it. I don't understand, as your project that we were talking about earlier with children. Yeah. With the destruction. And I just do not have any place in me that can understand harming children, creatures, our sacred earth. I don't have a place for it. So
any and all.
My soul practice is the bhakti practice. Really comes a lot through prostrations, pranam.
Yeah.
Big part of prana vinyasa is we just have to surrender the heaviness of that someplace.
Yes. As a sense
for me is that, anything that it becomes heavy to carry, I come down on the earth. We actually have a whole practice that is about that, and with mantra and with tears and really creating a space where for our emotional body we can be on the lap of the mother and go through the experiences that we need to, and in a way recharge. Prostration is about then getting up and rising again. And for me also the immensity of the beauty of nature, of how incredible creatures are in their emotional intelligence. And I live for that as a bhakta. I live to see that spark in all beings. I have respect for all beings. And I also think nourishing our soul is creating a good container for yourself. So I do work a lot with women from every orientation, and it seems to be that we all need a mandala to restore our nervous system. So for me, nourishing the soul is also my altar.
Yes.
And safe space, and of course the affection we have with our family, just keeping the love flowing, so it literally is a fire. If it starts to get dim, we are the ones that have to know how to refuel the power of love. And
it's so beautifully said for those of us who are the sensitives, the empaths, the don't even touch that spider, there's not a size of a winged one or a four-legged that everyone must be honored and preserved. It is a time, and there's been many times, but it's right to really need these tools to integrate that energy out. So it's not in the tissues and not in the memory, that we can keep going, keep our vibration up, keep doing the work so we can bring it out to others. It's just needing those tools. So for you to share these, I think is so essential, because you're right that we're seeing a lot right here. We're doing this interview, and look at Maui, and we here was hit by Hurricane Ian last year, and we're still a year later recovering, and it's a lot on the auric field to maintain. And so this, I think yoga has been my savior to help me process. And so the more you can share, I think is just a gift for all.
Yes.
Yeah. So you covered, I think, you really covered them all, emotionally, mentally, but physically, that might be a no-brainer. But is there any other things you do besides yoga? Do you have other activities, or probably walks with your beautiful puppy?
Yeah, the thing that I wanted to say about the practice of prostrations, right?
Yes.
For me, it's really the beginning of vinyasa, coming to the earth and rising again. So soon we had a change happen to our previous online school, and I had a huge, big free portal that I could refer people to, but our developer got COVID and we don't have access to our sites. It's been really a shift. And I think the physical aspect is that we just know that circulation is so vital to our longevity. So I don't really have an idea that my yoga asanas vinyasa is my physical practice. I always see it as an integrated way.
Sure.
And I don't feel that when I go into any physical movement that it's not also my yoga practice. So I really love, I live in a mountainous area, so I like to walk up. I like mountains. Mm-hmm. I like to walk up. I like to walk with also weights and stay strong and get my bones to the earth. I love to kayak, and I do love surfing, particularly when you're in places with just the tastiest waves. How can you not surf? But it's funny, when I used to surf like all the time when I've been home, but I'm in a period where grounding is super important for me. So it's just interesting to see certain seasons have certain elemental calls to us.
Oh, yes.
So I love all of the elements. And of course, as I mentioned, I'm a Kalaripayat practitioner, and I also study Odissi dance. And for me, they're also my yoga. And I try and just dance life all day, particularly when it's the tough stuff. You know, bring music, bring heart, bring circulation, make it fun, keep moving. Don't let anything settle and get stuck in a way.
Yeah.
So I think that worldview that kind of brings us back to Nataraja.
Yeah.
Movement is life. Movement is our life force.
We can go on and on. I agree. And I will have to say that, just putting your feet in the ground, just let those negative ions from the mother just soak you up. I just want to throw that in there.
Oh, exactly.
All right.
And outdoors. I like yoga studios going inside, but after that, you can't get me inside to move at all.
I'm with you. All right. We'll be right back.
Dance class, but I prefer nature's gym.
All the way. All right. We'll be right back.
The islands of Greece beckon you to nourish your soul, August 4th through 11th, 2024. Join Center for Intuitive Food Therapy and Nourish Your Soul host, Savante, for an 8-day, 7-night sojourn into your soul. Aphrodite Awakened welcomes you to return to the love you are. Savante is joined by renowned UK mystic and energy healer, Angela Aurora Medway-Smith, with meditations and pathways of enlightenment. Learn more about this retreat by visiting siftofficial.com. That's CIFTofficial.com.
Stuff. Where can I contain all of my stuff? How about this? The Container Store, the original storage and organization store. And I found their link on the healthylife.net advertiser page. They have containers for everything, including the kitchen, the bathroom, trash and recycling, traveling, spring cleaning, and dorm rooms. Just about everything you can think of to contain your stuff. The Container Store, right on the healthylife.net advertiser page.
What if your food can talk? What would it say? Receive Mother Nature's healing wisdom for emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual wellness at centerforintuitivefoodtherapy.com. Feed your chakras, eat in unison with nature's 5 elements, and now receive a complimentary energy activation. To begin your journey, visit centerforintuitivefoodtherapy.com/activation. You'll never look at food the same way again.
Get high-quality glasses, sunglasses, and prescription lenses at eyeglasses.com. Choose from over 250,000 items and 400 brands. Already have frames? Get replacement lenses. It's easy. Go to our advertiser page and click eyeglasses.com.
Dr. Susan G. Chamberlain of Blue Rose Mystics is a master of the mystical world. Her divine feminine soul path destiny readings bring enlightened awareness of your highest potential for ultimate healing. Available worldwide via Zoom. Choose today to book a reading with Dr. Susan G. Chamberlain and begin your journey of self-love, healing, and health at susangchamberlain.com.
Hi, I'm Krishna Das, and you're listening to the Nourish Your Soul Show.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
I'm just so excited, and I'm sorry we only have one more segment, I have to say. So we covered really the emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual. I'd love to see how you're going to talk about that in such a short amount of time, because that's the umbrella of it all. That's who we are, that essence of soul. And so you need that. We all need that. So how do you nourish yourself? And I love that you mentioned altars. I'm a big altar. I'm writing a book on altars. Altars, shrines, and sacred spaces, because that, to me, is soul right there personified, like right there in your space. There's nothing better. Yeah.
I feel that our meditation is to help us be stronger than any agitations.
Yes.
And I feel that's the soul space. And, just lighting a candle on your altar every morning is reclaiming what was the yoga space of our ancestors around the fire. It's where we can kind of all see where meditation and music and movement to give us not only this sense of wholeness and a connection to the mystery that's breathing us now, but also our ancestors were looking up at the magnificence of the cosmic journey that we're in. And so I feel the soul space is the space of nourishing our perspective and kind of making sure that our alignment is with that deep time, the deep wisdom of nature. I feel like we're all in a kind of a soul, how should we say, a period where we've entered a 24/7 digital rhythm with every portal being open. And yet
speeding up timelines.
We have to really live from a deeper rhythm. Otherwise, what I find is that my sense of the path and where we're headed, I can see that it's scrambling the rhythm from before. We've never lived with this kind of rhythm.
Yeah.
And so you have to be so strong in your inner connection to nature, to how you source the source. Because the modern rhythm is not connected to that. It's in a different rhythm that we've never experienced before. And so I think if we see that every day, then we are living in an evolutionary way. It's as in the programs that you shared, it's also a time of great, can say, incredible abundance of access to wisdom and support. And now we have so many voices of spiritual wisdom from around the world. So it's a time of incredible opportunity, but it's really important that we feel our soul is part of something that is in deep, deep, deep time.
Yes, I love that.
And what rhythm do we want for our children to live in? Like, it begins in our nervous system. It's a choice every day. And so for me, even though it seems so simple to say it's important we live in our soul's rhythm, it brings us to choices. And each time we choose our living earth, each time we choose kindness and compassion, each time we choose to have perspective about things like social media and not be pulled out of our Svadharma, I like to say this, everybody deserves to become the tree they were meant to be.
I love that.
And so we have this seed inside us.
Yeah.
And I think we have the sense of like, if I'm not careful, I'm going to be taken on a journey that's actually not the journey of this tree that I'm meant to be.
Oh, it's just so amazing. I have a future oracle deck. I write oracle decks around food healing, and the new one is very tree related. And just as you said that, it just was exactly the essence of nourishing that seed, tilling the soil, fertilizing it, everything you need to do to bring it, roots going down, and then bring up, and then giving from those branches. Oh my God, thank you. You couldn't have ended the show better that way. And thank you. And the one line you said so many things today, but what really touched me was embracing life in totality. Yes. You said that earlier, so thank you for that. And I encourage you all to embrace life in totality, as Shiva Ray has shared today. Is there anything else that you would like to share that you have coming up? I know we have Bhakti Fest next month, but in general, that people can get more time with you.
Thank you.
Sure.
I am a global citizen, and we have pilgrimages that happen all year round. Some of them have, a teacher training aspect as an option, but I think that journey of being a teacher, or the journey of the year, is so important for kind of keeping us in this evolutionary space. So I have an app that's coming out that's the journey of the year, that gives people weekly movement meditation in a way that they actually can see themselves evolving. So they learn 54 different namaskars. And I go to India twice a year, always for Navaratri, and my partner will be joining me in Mahashivratri. We have pilgrimages every year in Greece for the solstice. We go to the oldest places, like Delphi and deep into the caves of the original oracle. And this year we're going to Samos and also to Turkey. And it does something to be in these sanctuaries that are still so alive.
Yes.
And so I also teach in urban centers, but I'm always, like when I'm in London, we're always going to Avebury, or going to the old places and going back into the urban centers, just like Bhakti Fest. We're going really, Joshua Tree is an incredible pilgrimage. And then we're bringing that love, and that nourishment for our journey back into our life. So I've been transformed by pilgrimage and retreat. And so I offer that, and it's become more small scale, which I enjoy. It used to be, before COVID, almost as a huge carnival. And so I'm appreciating that I describe it a mitra on the path, in that Sufi way. The teacher is the mitra, to, in a way, give that compassion and authenticity so we can be ourselves and evolve together.
Oh, thank you.
That's that kind of live online hybrid going on, and people can find me. I love that we can let go of the .com. And so it's just shivaray.love. Very simple.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time, your presence, your everything. Thank you everyone for listening in. I hope you were nourished today, as I have been, and all of us. We will see you where we see you. And thank you again, Shiva Ray, for being here. It's been a real blessing for me, and I know for all who listened today. All right, everyone. Be well. Stay nourished. Take care.
Ready to experience a complete restorative journey into the jungles of Costa Rica? Savante welcomes you on her Nourish Your Soul retreat at the world-renowned Himalaya Institute, February 6th through 11th, 2025, to enjoy a week of emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual well-being Eat 5-star plant-based cuisine. Immerse yourself in a shamanic cacao ceremony and a waterfall plunge. Receive food, healing, oracle deck readings, and commune in the gorgeous rainforest amongst the beautiful foliage, monkeys, sloths, and tropical birds. This is a mind, body, and spirit experience of a lifetime. Learn more at siftofficial.com. That's CIFT official.com.
If you're looking for unique items at affordable prices, then you should try Dream Product. From apparel to beauty, from shoes to therapeutic relief products, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Dream Products, and maybe your dreams might just come into reality.
Dr. Susan G. Chamberlain of Blue Rose Mystics is a master of the mystical world. Her divine feminine soul path destiny readings bring enlightened awareness of your highest potential for ultimate healing. Available worldwide via Zoom. Choose today to book a reading with Dr. Susan G. Chamberlain and begin your journey of self-love, healing, and health at susangchamberlain.com.
Crystal Travel has a vast selection of flights and other travel options at the best industry prices. Visit the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and click on Crystal Travel to get your best travel deal now.
What if your food can talk? What would it say? Receive Mother Nature's healing wisdom for emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual wellness at centerforintuitivefoodtherapy.com. Feed your chakras, eat in unison with nature's 5 elements, and now receive a complimentary energy activation. To begin your journey, visit centerforintuitivefoodtherapy.com/activation. You'll never look at food the same way again.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.